Good morning. Good morning. Welcome or welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Friday, TGIF, July the 12th, and we are here to finish off the week with the new releases that are being set into the wild this week. And we'll be looking at some the last of some of the mysteries and thrillers we didn't have time for on Tuesday, and a couple nonfiction that looked interesting. It's Freeform Friday, so we look at whatever we want to. Hope you had a good night. Quick announcements. I don't have sprints tonight. I don't do them on Friday nights. We will have them tomorrow afternoon, as usual, at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Eastern, and they will go for 5 hours. I do every Tuesday and Thursday evenings and Saturday afternoons. All righty. Let's see. Otherwise, I don't have any other plans for the weekend other than a lot of crocheting. Just crocheting. I'm listening to two really good audiobooks. The first one I started earlier this week, a fantasy called Novella by Paolo Bacciolu. I couldn't tell you what it is, but it starts with a B. And yesterday I started a historical mystery called Murder at Melrose Court by Karen Manuin. Again, last names, I don't have it in front of me. First in a series set in the 1920s. And I'm listening to that audiobook, and that reader's performance is fantastic. Little problem with not really a problem with females, but they have Russian accents, so it's kind of a double whammy there. But he does amazing differentiation between the male characters, and his voice is very deep and rich and luscious, and so I'm really liking it. Did you? I am liking it. I hope you like it. um it I love medieval Italy anyway, the Renaissance, the Borgias, the Medici. I'm sure it was not fun necessarily to live well. In Florence, it was a republic, actually. The form of government was a republic, uh, unlike feudal and other things. So, but it also has a taste of, like, because the narrator is as he is a young boy and learning from his father. It sort of feels like even the beginnings of, like, Patrick Rothfuss or Robin Hobb. It just has that flavor, so I'm liking it a lot. That's okay. That's okay. All books have their right time, and sometimes when you buy it, it's not the right time. All right, let's hop in. So some of these were ones that we did not get to on Tuesday. And then others are ones that look kind of interesting that didn't really fit a category. This one, I believe, was from Tuesday. Sharon Sala has a new one, Left Behind. Everything that was lost will be found again. Jubilee PD officer Wiley Pope thinks he's ruined things with Lynette Elgin. He hasn't seen or heard from the local nurse since their first date went disastrously wrong. But when Wiley walks in on a bank robbery and with Lynette as one of the hostages, his training and protective instincts kick into full gear. A heroic bullet to his armor-protected chest is enough for Lynette to forgive Wiley's past mistakes and be willing to begin anew. While his love for Lynette grows daily, Wiley finds himself in over his head with a murder investigation when a murder investigation is linked to Pope Mountain. I think I need new glasses. If that wasn't enough, a woman from Wiley's father's past abandons her 7-year-old daughter at the police station in an attempted money scheme. But the minute the woman signs over her parental rights, Wiley and Lynette welcome the wary little girl into their family and show her what real love looks like. So sort of a romantic suspense, maybe romantic proceduralish. I'm familiar with that author, but I don't think I've read any. Haunted Warrior by Sue Ellen Welfonder, 6th in the Ravenscraig Legacy. When danger rises, passion ignites. Kendra Chase earns her living as a ghost whisperer. Her work is often emotionally draining, so she's been looking forward to a vacation in Edinburgh. But it turns into a working holiday when an assignment sends her to Scotland's rugged north coast. The tiny fishing village of Pinard is being excavated for a historical restoration project, and the locals aren't the only ones upset by the plans. Supernatural uprisings have been reported. No one knows better than Graham McGrath that his village is a hotbed for psychic trouble. Bound by a centuries-old legacy, Graham is the fiercest opponent to the development project. The renovation work has disrupted the protective veil between this world and darker, more ancient ones. And though he doesn't have time for dallying with a fetching American, desire and love flares between them. Soon Graham will depend on Kendra for more than her paranormal abilities as they work to save Pinard from the brink of unspeakable evil. That's a very pretty cover. I still haven't started any Robin Hobb. I was that way too. I read the first one last year or the year before, and I don't think I've continued because it hurt. It's really good, but there's pain coming, so I'm kind of avoiding the pain. The Dallargut Dream Department Store. This is the #1 Korean bestseller with over 1 million copies sold by Mai Lee, and translator is Sandy Jusun Lee. What if there was a store that sold dreams? Which would you buy? And who might you become when you wake up? In a mysterious town hidden in our collective subconscious, there's a department store that sells dreams. Day and night, visitors, both human and animal, shuffle in to purchase their latest adventure. Each floor specializes in a specific type of dream: childhood memories, food dreams, ice skating, dreams of stardom. Flying dreams are almost always sold out. Some seek dreams of loved ones who have died. For Penny, an enthusiastic new hire working at Dallargut, is the opportunity of a lifetime. As she uncovers the workings of this whimsical world, she bonds with a cast of unforgettable characters, including Dallargut, the flamboyant and wise owner, Baby Nap Rockabye, a famous dream designer, Maxim, a nightmare producer, and the many customers who dream to heal, dream to grow, and dream to flourish. That sounds very interesting. I can see why that would be a bestseller. It's under 300 pages. On the surface, it's probably not a accident that it looks kind of like a shark coming up. This is by Rachel McGuire. Sawyer Stone III and Danny Fox, a young couple who spend their time circumnavigating the globe aboard their 42-foot sailboat and documenting it for their fledgling YouTube channel, Sailing with the Foxes, have anchored in Exuma in the Bahamas. As they wait for the price of crypto to rebound so they can provision and continue their journey, they're partying and exploring with their fellow cruisers offshore. On the surface, everything looks perfect, but one night Danny vanishes after a boat party and Sawyer has no memory of her disappearance. The search for Danny is initially fueled by concerns that she drowned during one of her daily ocean swims, but Danny's pre-scheduled video posts, recorded before she went missing, soon reveal a darker side to her relationship with Sawyer. Meanwhile, Royal Bahamas Police Force Inspector Veronique Knowles has her hands full trying to keep the investigation on course as the story of the American woman missing in the Bahamas goes viral and the internet sleuths unearth secrets from Sawyer's past. Sawyer Stone is far from perfect, but is he the murderer? Well, there's a good summer thriller. Is it a girl gone situation or not? Lady Killer. Speaking of summer reads, there's a summer read cover. This is by Catherine Wood. Everyone has a story, but not everyone's story is true. When a young woman vanishes from her remote Greek island estate, her best friend races to find her using clues found in the explosive manuscript she left behind. Gia and Abby have been friends since childhood, forever bonded by the tragedy that unfolded in Greece when they were 18. Now 30, heiress Gia is back in Greece with her shiny new husband, entertaining glamorous guests with champagne under the hot Mediterranean sun, while bookish Abby is working 14-hour days as an attorney. When Gia invites Abby on an all-expenses-paid trip to Sweden to celebrate her birthday, Abby's thrilled to reconnect. But on the day of her flight, Abby receives an ominous email that threatens to unearth the skeletons of her past. When she and Gia's brother Benny arrive in Sweden, Gia isn't there. Worried, Abby and Benny fly to Greece, where they find Gia's beachfront estate eerily deserted. The sole clue to her whereabouts, the manuscript she penned, detailing the events leading up to her disappearance. Gia's narrative reveals the dark truth about her provocative new marriage and the dirty secrets of their seductive guests, a story almost too scandalous to believe. But the pages end abruptly, leaving more questions than answers. How much of Gia's story is true? Where is she now? And will Abby find her before it's too late? I was a little concerned it was going to be in Sweden, and then they had this kind of cover. What's up with that? It's Elementary by Elise Bryant. Mavis Miller is not a PTA mom. She has enough on her plate with her feisty 7-year-old daughter, Pearl, an exhausting job at a nonprofit, and the complexities of a multi-generational household. So no one is more surprised than Mavis when she caves to Trisha Holbrook, the long-reigning, slightly terrifying PTA president, and finds herself in charge of the school's brand-new DEI committee. As one of the few Black parents at this California elementary school, Mavis tries to convince herself this is an opportunity for real change. Things go off the rails at the very first meeting. I'm shocked. When the new principal's plans leave Trisha absolutely furious. Later that night, Mavis spies Trisha in yellow rubber gloves and booties, lugging cleaning supplies and giant black trash bags to her waiting minivan. It's only natural that her mind jumps to somewhere it surely wouldn't in the light of day. Except Principal Smith fails to show up for work the next morning and has been MIA since the meeting. Determined to get to the bottom of things, Mavis, along with the school psychologist with the great forearms, look, it's worth noting, launches an investigation that will challenge her views on parenting, friendship, and elementary school politics. How to Die Famous. I don't want to be famous, but I would rather take the word die out of there. This is by Benjamin Dean. Rising star Abel Miller has just landed a role in one of the hottest reboots on the omni-channel Sunset High. It looks like he'll be yet another budding celebrity plucked from obscurity, but he has a secret. His brother Adam, a mere production associate, died during the filming of the last attempt at Sunset High, and no one knows why, how, or why. Abel is going to find out. But when he meets the other stars of the show, Lucky, Ryan, and Ella, along with creator Lake Carter, he realizes there's even more darkness beneath the shimmer of fame. They all have their own secrets to hide, and one of them is willing to kill to keep it that way. And now we're going into the territory of, well, this sounded interesting, but didn't really fall under another category. Daughters of Olympus. It kind of warms my heart that all the mythology, the Greek mythology stuff is popular. This is by Hannah Lynn. Demeter, a goddess of life, living half of one. Demeter did not always live in fear. Once she loved the world and the humans who inhabited it. After an act of devastating violence, though, she hides herself away from the grasses and wildflowers. Her only solace is her daughter. Before she was Persephone, she was Cori. Cori is as bright as summer and devoted to her mother, even during their millennia in exile from Olympus. But she craves freedom. Naive and determined, she secretly builds a life of her own, and as she does so, she catches the eye of a powerful god. The daughters of Olympus will have the last word. Then Hades kidnaps Cori and renames her as Queen of the Underworld. In the land without sun, she realizes she may have a chance to gain back what she thought she'd lost forever. But Demeter will destroy anything, even the humans she holds so dear, to bring her daughter back. A mother who has lost everything and a daughter with more to gain than she ever realized. They will irrevocably shape the world, all in the name of something as human as love. This next one is a nonfiction. The Long Run, A Creative Inquiry by Stacy Derasimo. The author of a previous book asks 8 legendary artists, what has sustained you in the long run? How do we keep doing this, making art? The author has been writing for 20 years and had published 3 novels when she asked herself this question. She was past the rush of her first books and wondering what to expect, how to stay alive in her vocation in the decades ahead. She began to interview older artists she admired to find out how they'd done it. She talked to Valda Setterfield about her 60-year career that took her from the Merce Cunningham Dance Company to theatrical collaborations with her husband to roles in films. She talked to Samuel R. Delaney about his vast oeuvre of books in many genres. She talked to Amy Silman about working between painting and other media and between abstraction and figuration. She talked to landscape architect Daryl Morrison, composer Tanya Leon, actress Blair Brown, and musician Steve Earle, and started to see connections between them and to artists across time. Colette, David Bowie, Ruth Asawa. She found insights in own experience about what has driven and thwarted and shaped her as a writer. Instead of easy answers or a roadmap, this book offers one practitioner's conversations, anecdotes, confidences, and observations about sustaining a creative life. Along the way, it radically redefines artistic success, shifting the focus from novelty and output and external recognition towards freedom, fluidity, resistance, community, and survival. I thought that sounded very interesting. Will I have time to read it? Totally different. Devil's Contract. This one also sounded interesting. It is a nonfiction. Devil's Contract, The History of the Faustian Bargain by Ed Simon. A devilishly fascinating tour of the Faustian bargain through the ages, from brimstone to blues and beyond. From ancient times to the modern world, the idea of the Faustian bargain, the exchange of one's soul in return for untold riches and power, has exerted a magnetic pull upon our collective imaginations. Scholar Ed Simon takes us on a historical tour of the Faustian bargain from the Bible to blues and illustrates how the impulse to sacrifice our principles in exchange for power is present in all kinds of social ills, from colonialism to nuclear warfare, from social media to climate change to AI and beyond. In doing so, Simon conveys just how much the Faustian bargain shows us about power and evil and ourselves, and how you can twist that concept. Just gonna say. Natalie Goldberg is a name in how to write circles, and she has a new one. Writing on Empty, A Guide to Finding Your Voice. Natalie Goldberg has been writing for the past 50 years, but at the beginning of the pandemic, she suddenly wasn't able to write anymore. Her imaginative wellspring had dried up, and she was forced to ask herself, what do I do when what has always worked for me doesn't work anymore? In this beautifully written, inspiring personal account, Natalie shares her harrowing journey out of creative paralysis and back onto the page. When all of her tried and true methods, meditation, sitting still, writing practice, stopped working, she had to take drastic action. She got into her car and left New Mexico in search of a new inventive source. In her journey through the Western states, she visited famous literary sites, searching for the spark that would reignite her ability to write. And next to Hemingway's grave, she found it. Get going, he seemed to say to her, and she did. Now Natalie shares her story of traveling through literary and personal memory to clarify her way forward, struggling to make sense of her difficult relationships with parents and teachers, and digging into her long-held grief. Ultimately, she discovers how to write through the emptiness in order to fill up the world with compassion, healing, and renewed liveliness. Another nonfiction that sounded interesting was The Secret Lives of Numbers, A Hidden History of Math's Unsung Trailblazers by Kate Kirigawa and Timothy Revell. Mathematics shapes almost everything we do, but despite its reputation as the study of fundamental truths, the stories we have been told about it are wrong. Warped like the 16th century map that enlarged Europe at the expense of Africa, Asia, and the Americas. This book, the authors make the case that the history of math is infinitely deeper, broader, and richer than the narrative we think we know. Our story takes us from Hypatia, the first great female mathematician, whose ideas revolutionized geometry and who was killed for them, to Karen Uhlenbeck, the first woman to win the Abel Prize, Maths Nobel. Along the way, we travel the globe to meet the brilliant Arabic scholars of the House of Wisdom, a math temple whose destruction in the siege of Baghdad in the 13th century was a loss arguably on par with that of the Library of Alexandria. Madhava of Sangamagrama, the 14th century Indian genius who uncovered the central tenets of calculus 300 years before Isaac Newton was born, and the black mathematicians of the civil rights era who played a significant role in dismantling early database methods of racial discrimination. Covering, they had to go. Covering thousands of years, 6 continents, and just about every mathematical discipline, this book is an immensely compelling narrative history. And I apologize, I forgot to click on them. This is what it looks like. And we're back. And that's all we had. So, Monday we'll start with a new week of new releases, starting with the cozy mysteries, the lighter side of mysteries. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you have a good weekend. Please hit the like button. Please tell other people about it, or us, or share it. We are closing in on 300 subscribers, which is very cool. We'd love to grow. We love this community looking at not necessarily it's not book reviews, because honestly, I don't care really what other people think about books. I want to know about books out there so I can form my own opinion. And the only way to know what's out there is to look at all the new releases, which is why I'm doing this. So again, I don't have any sprints tonight. I don't do them on Friday night. We will have them tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Eastern, and those will go for 5 hours. So have a very good Friday. It's we're getting deep into summer, so please stay cool, stay hydrated, read good books, always. And also remember, if that book isn't working for you at that moment, it's okay to put a pause on it. It's not a test. It's not a competition. Reading is fun. And as the banner says here, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Nom nom nom. Have a good day. God bless.